Welcome to my podcast, where we are going to talk about a lifestyle with dogs and throw in a few life lessons along the way. Whether you're a hound hunter, bird dog enthusiast, running setters, pointers, retrievers, or a flat-out running dog junkie, this podcast is for you. I am your host, Heath Hyatt, a certified law enforcement canine trainer with over 3 decades of personal and professional training and handling experience. It's time for me to pay it forward. So grab your leads, lace up those boots, and come and join me on this lifelong process of teaching, training, and learning. Do you like to be outdoors like I do? If so, unlock the wilderness with Onyx Maps. It is your ultimate guide to exploring, hunting, and conquering the great outdoors. With detailed maps, real-time tracking, and exclusive access to public and private lands, Onyx Maps is your key to adventure. Discover the possibilities and never get lost again with Onyx. So subscribe today using the promo code K920. Letter K, number 920, and know where you stand. All right. We, and I say we, because I got one of my good friends sitting here with me, are coming from Canada. And we're not going to give away the hunt. We may talk a little bit about it, but I'm going to do another podcast with the guys that we're up here with. Today's Thursday?
I think so.
Thursday. We've been up here 5 days so far. Got 2 more. It's been great. Got a little wet today. We're still drying out from today, but it is what it is. But anyway, so this relationship here is going to go back to me and Ben was trying to figure this out, 2006 or 2007, and it confused me because I started going to New York in 98, 99ish, and well, we were talking about it the other night at supper. I was like, no, that's not right. But it didn't dawn on me that I had been several years without actually running into him. So we have got Ben Gadway on from, I'm just going to say upstate New York. Since Aspen thinks you're from New York City, we'll just say upstate New York. I went almost 20 years in a row up to your town. And hunted a lot. Like I'd hunt 4 or 5 days and then slip on down to Anthony's and hunt the last two or three, however that worked out. But yeah, so I spent a lot of time up there. But anyway, so we got Ben on with me today. We've been up here chasing some old bear and squelch monkeys and Sasquatches and I don't know what all we ran, but we've ran the fur off of it, whatever it was. So that's what we're supposed to be doing.
I think your dog run a couple turtles.
You know, I've never seen so many turtles. Like, I didn't realize that was a commodity up here. Like, those things are everywhere, and I guess because there's so much water. I mean, that's got to be it, right?
Yes, sir.
Do you have them at your place?
Not like this. This is crazy.
No, I mean, I haven't seen them. I never seen them at your place. And y'all got a lot of those beaver swamps and stuff.
Yep, there's hundreds of turtles up here. Just, I can't believe it.
Yeah. And I didn't know this, so let's give you guys a little education. So, according to Nick and Sarah, that the bear prefer the turtles over bait. So, the baits have kind of been hit or miss because the turtles are going, the bear are going and literally walking the roads. We found bear tracks in the roads in several places. And looking for the turtle. So that was news to me. I didn't know that. I didn't know anything about it. But anyway, I guess that's a thing in Canada, I suppose. All right, Ben. So just tell everybody a little bit about yourself. And then we're just going to get into, if we can remember our first hunt. I think I do.
Was that the one where Big Cat got caught up?
I think we were in front of your place because you pulled up in a smaller Toyota.
Yep.
And
Tacoma. Yep.
Yeah. So just tell everybody a little bit about you, Ben. How long you been hunting? If you want to go into the dogs, and if you don't know, I can tell them what you were hunting.
Well, I started hunting rabbits with dogs when I was 18, 20 years old, and never hunted nothing but rabbits with beagles. And then one day I was headed to work and saw a fellow walking his dogs down the road, and it looked like great big long-legged giraffe-like beagles. And been downhill since then. That was 2006 or 7, and he invited me to go the next weekend. I went, and I haven't stopped since.
So the guy he's talking about is our mutual friend, Rodney Galusha, and I know you've heard me mention him on the podcast before. I used to go up every year and stay at Rodney's and, like I said, hunt 3 or 4 days. And Rodney would keep a couple dogs of mine and run them through their season and take them into Maine. And then after Maine season, I'd pick them up around Thanksgiving and run a couple of his. And, I mean, we did that for a long time, like always switching out and trying to help each other. Like it made it, I mean, my dogs were basically getting hunted 6 months a year when him and I were running together.
I seem to remember trucking dogs down for you and trucking dogs back for him.
Yeah. Yeah. So all right, this is my, what dogs do you remember when we first met? Do you remember any of the dogs that I was running?
I remember Cannon, I think Ring, Sky.
Mm-hmm.
There's one you called Skeeter, but they changed the name to Skitter.
Yeah, Rodney kept her. She was too much of a treat. She was slick trained fool. Yeah. Yeah, we Rodney run her for a whole summer, and he said, Heath, you got to do something. But he also wanted me to sell Ring, too.
Yeah,
yeah,
I remember that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, he was mad. When we were in Canada, that was in 2004. Yeah, so Ring was 2 years old. My old Frosty dog, which was my black and tan, he had lymphoma and actually passed away after we got back from Canada in September and in October 4th, actually, in 2004. So I can remember that date vividly, but Frosty ended up having lymphoma and dying, and I had Ring. But while we were up there, Frosty was not acting right. Like, he was not making races. He would go in and bark a few times and come out, and we're like, what? Like, what is going on? And Ring would take off, go through the country, and get treed. And when I say get treed in the nastiest, wettest places he could find and have nothing. And we was walking away from that last tree. And Rodney said, I don't really care if you turn him loose again. And I mean, I get it. I was frustrated, like very frustrated. I mean, I went home that year and I was like, I don't know what I'm going to do with this dog. Like, it was that bad. But he turned around.
Well, his granddaughter, I had a fella, I offered to let him take her hunting because I couldn't go. And he says, I don't want to go that far in the woods.
Ooh, Tanner?
Yep.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we hunted that year. But anyway, here's the hunt that I remember first seeing you. And it could be wrong, but this is my first recollection. Is we went up on the road you live on, and we had turned loose there, and you had pulled up in a, like I said, I thought you drive a little Toyota.
I did, a red Tacoma.
Yeah. And anyway, the dogs went there and struck and took out left-handed and went back towards the gun club and treed. And Sky was just a puppy. I know I had Ring and Sky, and I'm sure in that time period I was hunting Bell too, for sure. And we got in there, and there was a porcupine sitting real low in a pine tree, and on top of it there was a bear hanging. We treated a porcupine and a bear. So I looked at Rodney, and I'm like, well, I guess yours treated the porcupine because mine don't even know what that is. Mine treated the bear. And he goes, if that's your story, you know how Rodney is. If that's your story, you can stick to it.
Yep.
Attention hound hunters and outdoor enthusiasts. Are you ready to experience the thrill of fair chase hunting? If so, check out Southern Hound Hunting Magazine. It's your ultimate guide to all forms of hound hunting, starting in the flat woods of southern Georgia and covering vast terrains across the nation. We bring you genuine stories where the chase is exhilarating as the catch, recipes, and the brag pages that follow. These adventures will take you down memory lane. Whether you're a seasoned pro or a newcomer to the sport, if it's hound worthy, we've got you covered. Join us in this heart-pounding world of hound hunting. To subscribe or to buy the latest swag, go to southernhoundhunting.com. You can also follow along on Facebook and Instagram, where the hunt never ends. Get ready for the real fair chase experience when you join the pack here at Southern Hound Hunting Magazine.
You make up a story, I'll go along with it.
Yeah, that's right. We've done that a few times too, because we didn't know ourselves what was going on. But so you hunted you would go before work, you would meet us before work, and you would hunt an hour or whatever until you had to leave.
Yep.
And then you go, and like I said, I remember you taking Big Cat out that time, taking him to the vet, because we got caught up in it at Beaver Dam, and Bear got pretty rough.
Yep, 4 inches both ways on a corner tear. Yep.
Yeah.
On his hip.
So you logged him out, and I don't even know. I guess we spent the rest of the day chasing. They got strung out after that, I think. I can't remember exactly how that hunt ended, but we didn't tree that bear. I know that. And I don't think it was I think it was a 253. It wasn't a monster.
They caught him in a beaver pond, as I recall. That's where the dog got caught up. I don't think I took him to the vet. We were planning on it, then he just took him himself.
Oh, Rodney did?
Yeah, I think so.
So then we had the dogs caught then.
Yeah, something like that.
Yeah.
That was a long time ago.
It's been a trip. Well, we were just sitting here talking about it. Like, if you go all the way back to 06, 07, whatever year that was, like, and I want to talk about some of these hunts, but like we've hunted together quite a bit. Y'all come down, you, Bob, and Rodney come down and stayed in the cabin and hunted a couple days or a week, I don't remember. And then I'm up every year, and then when our early season come in, you started coming back down and hunting the early season. And then, of course, now here we sit
in Canada, yeah.
Almost 20 years later in Canada.
Yep, some of our dogs are almost that old.
Yeah. Well, no, I'm hunting a whole new pack up.
Maybe they just act that old.
Yeah, they look that old. Mine's got some white in their face pretty quickly, actually. So what was it that intrigued you? What was it that you said, like, I like this, I wanna do it?
Well, I've always liked dogs, or hound dogs. The ears going down, that's the kind of dog I like. They perk up, I don't want nothing to do with them. I want those big old ugly looking dogs with long floppy ears that can't keep out of the water bowl.
Yeah.
And just seeing a 50, 60 pound dog that'll send a 300 pound bear up a tree just intrigued me. It's just the drive those dogs have.
And you didn't even, I guess I brought your first dog to you, didn't I?
Tanner, yep.
Yeah. So Tanner, just to give you guys a little rundown on her lineage. So Tanner's a granddaughter of my old Ring dog. I had bred Ring to Sky. Sky I got from Rodney, and Sky was out of Rain. Rain was a leopard female, and I'm not sure. We're not sure about the dad. We think it was Biggin. And Sky at 4 months old, when I picked her up from Rodney's, I went to Anthony's to hunt, and Anthony said, "Are you gonna leave that pup here?" And I'm like, "Well, yeah, she's too young. She's 4 months old." And he said, "Well, you can't leave her here. She's gonna bark, and the neighbors are gonna complain." And I'm like, "Okay." And so I remember I had Belle, Clyde, Smokey, Sam, Ring. That's the 5 dogs that I was hunting, and then of course I had Sky. So we went down to Anthony's and turned loose up behind his mom's house, and the dogs went screaming out of there. And they caught, like it was just bam, they caught. So we're walking out through, I think Scotty Woods was with me there. I can't remember, but we went walking out through a flat, and here she come back to us, that little puppy. And then she turned and went back, and we got in there, and they had this monster bear caught in a creek. And that little Sky, that little female, was running around in circles, just booger, she was booger barking. Now I know, then I probably didn't realize it, but she was booger barking. Yeah. She just running circles around there. So I called her up, and we started catching dogs off, and the bear finally just got up and walked away. And that was her first time out. And that next year, she was a year and a half that next season, and I was so tickled with her because she could keep up with the ring. She was a super nice dog. Long, she looked like a male dog, like she was as big as a male dog.
Tanner's a pretty big dog.
Yeah, she's big. I mean, she's Sky. So anyway, Tanner's out of. I bred Ring and Sky together, and had a litter of puppies. Which the mother to yours is Cricket, and we bred Cricket to a dog that I'd got out of Wisconsin. Well, we didn't breed them on purpose. This was another one of those accidental litters that you have. But that dog was out of Rambo's radar 3 generations back, and then the second one was this Rambo's radar or something else. Really, really nice, fast, super fast dog. Nice tree dog. Had a lot of stay, however you want to put to him. Anyway, that was the dad to Tanner. So that's what she's out of, and I mean she's 9. So you've had her 9 May 5th, Cinco de Mayo.
May 5th, yep,
yeah.
9 years.
I gotta remember that. Like I have to remember Cinco de Mayo with her. I know it. I just don't. It just don't register sometimes.
3 months old, she knew what a bear looked like and smelled like.
Mm-hmm.
Then the following season, she was hot after him. Hadn't stopped.
Did I not bring a couple of those pups up there?
Just one.
Just one?
Yep.
Did I pick up a blue pup somewhere? I want to say that I had maybe I'd stopped and got some pups from Bob on the way home. That would probably be right. Yeah, we had bred Lady, she was a Cameron female. We had bred her to that Harold's High Lonesome something. I can't remember that dog. But we had bred Lady to a male out of him, and I'd picked up a handful of pups and took them home with me. Yeah, so that was the same trip. Because that would have been, she's 9, I'm trying to think, so Maddie's 15. Yeah, so Maddie wouldn't have been on that trip. But Maddie was on the trip, that was 15 years ago. So no, that wasn't the same trip. That was 15 years ago when I had the blue pups. That's when I picked them up. Oh, wow. Huh. Hollywood and Harley, and I can't remember what else the other names were. But I think I got 4 of those, and I took 2 home, and I kept 2, and then maybe Bob had sold the other 2, and I had gotten them to. I know a guy in Tennessee had bought one of them, and I don't remember the other one. It's pretty bad when you go through so many dogs. You can't keep up with them all. Got to start writing them down.
Mine is like a sponge. You only absorb so much, and you got to forget stuff.
Yeah. All right, so let's just talk about a few of our good hunts. Like, what are some hunts that you remember that we've been together? Good, bad, indifferent. Like the ones that stand out to you.
They all stand out. I mean, the first time in Virginia, I just couldn't believe that many hillbillies had that many dogs. I mean, I never seen nothing like it.
Yeah. And I said this on a podcast before, if you're bear hunting in my area, it's with a hound. It's not, I mean, the deer hunters will take one if the opportunity passes and the bear walks by, they'll take one. But if you're a bear hunter, you're probably carrying a dog around with you, or a truckload of dogs around with you, for sure. Did we catch any bear that year?
Yeah, a great big one, 350, 400 pounds.
Was that the one that killed Sam?
It wasn't that time. No dogs got killed on that one.
Do you remember where we were at? Behind my dad's? Or
I think it was close to your dad's. I remember an old sawmill on the road we were on. We ate lunch at some store.
Oh, yeah. That's it. Yep. Yep. Yeah, so, well,
There was a great big dude wearing overalls spitting tobacco in a garbage can at the store.
Yeah.
Big Daddy, you called him, I think?
Big Daddy, yeah. Larry King, yeah. Yeah. So we did catch a good bear?
Yep. In fact, I don't think I ever saw the bear. They were dragging it out, and we got in the truck headed for home because we had to work in the next day or two.
Uh-huh. Yeah, I don't know. I don't remember which hunt that was.
Yeah, that was 2008. So
2008.
that was quite a long time ago.
Was there snow on?
There was, yep.
There was snow on.
Wait, not a lot, but I think there was some because it was the December hunt.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because y'all stayed up at Brad's cabin.
It was a mobile home
Yeah.
like place. Yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah, y'all stayed up there.
Yeah.
With
Bob taking cold showers with hot water wasn't working.
yeah.
Pretty rugged.
Yeah. Huh. So any others stick out?
2000 and a couple years ago, 4 years ago, I think I was down there. And
Early season?
yeah, yep.
Mhm.
I remember Tanner jumped out the window, the back window of the truck.
Oh. Was Fielder with us?
Nope, that was the next one.
That was the next year?
Yeah, so that was 2 years ago was Fielder, 2 years before that. So it would have been like 2020, 2019, 2020.
Uh-huh.
And Tanner jumped out the back window. That's when you put the window down and tumbled around at 30 miles an hour.
Who you did?
No, Tanner did.
But whose truck was she in?
My truck.
Oh, that's your fault then.
Almost, yeah.
Yeah. I mean, I knew she did that, but did she end up striking? Is that what she jumped out for?
Yeah, something like that, yep. And
Yeah.
I got her back, and we were heading down. Somebody struck a bear, and we went down the road to catch up with him. And then that fella, I can't remember his name, shot his first bear out of a tree. That was a couple 100-pounder.
Yes. Yeah. Seth.
Seth, yep,
Mhm.
him, yep.
Yep. I remember exactly where that was at. Yeah.
And then I remember some of them same roads. Tanner struck a bear and put her down. We went up the top of the mountain and opened a box, and buckshot went 400 yards in like 2 minutes. And they run that bear across the road. They packed a bunch of dogs to him, but Tanner and buckshot had a treat for anybody else got there. And we got the tree. There were probably 30 dogs and almost that many people. Tanner was 12 feet up in a tree and fell out.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, she tried to killing herself that hunt. Jumping out the window, falling out the tree. And,
She said, I don't want to come back to Virginia.
yeah,
But, I've had her, like, how many Decembers did I hunt her?
yeah, three, four,
3 or
probably.
4, yeah. I got her, I'm at fault because I got her tore up worse than you've ever had.
Yeah, but it wasn't your fault. I mean, she's
Well,
Tanner. I mean, she's
yeah.
gonna do what she do.
Yeah, but I was just glad she didn't die because it was bad.
Well, I remember that one trip. When she jumped out the window and fell out the tree, and Forrest says, "Well, Ben, if you ain't gonna take care of that dog, I'd be happy to take her. I'll breed her something good." And I said, "Well, where are you gonna get that?"
Yeah. Yeah, she's a handful. Like, she can be a handful for
Oh,
sure.
She's softened up in the last 5 years.
I think the last year you were down, you're not like this, last year, year before last, when we made that hike into that gorge and back out, like, that was a day.
Oh, I remember you said, Ben, we're not going to tree that bear. And I said, well, why not? Tanner and buckshot are there.
Yeah.
And they treat it. And we got there, and it was not fun.
No.
And then
And they normally don't catch in there. They'll either get below it or above it. They don't catch in the middle of it. But they did.
I remember you asked me if I wanted to kill it. I was like, nope. 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 We'd still be dragging on that thing.
Well, it was a lot shorter to go out the other way. And just so happens we made a decision to walk in from the top. And, yeah, holy cow. I mean, we were almost 5 miles in 5 miles. That was a 10-mile hike that day.
And that was after
That was the second tree.
second tree, and the first one was straight up and
Yes,
down.
because, you come down there. Yeah.
Yeah.
That was only a 200-yard tree, but, it was like a mile, wasn't it?
Oh, or worse. Yeah, straight up and down. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, that, I remember, like I said, I remember that, and I'm trying to think, like, I mean, you were with us a lot at Rodney's, like, and they kind of all run together. Like, they don't, like I said, I remember Big Cat getting hurt, and I remember the porcupine and the bear, and I'll still ride Rodney about that.
oh, yeah. He needs it.
I'd still tell him,
He needs
your dog's
it.
treated porcupine. You weren't with us the day that, no, you had done gone to work, and we treated the Fisher. Or Hudson did. Hudson slipped off and went through the country and just hammered. And we walked, I mean, it was a good walk in there, too. Oh, he was livid. I get it. I get that way myself sometimes.
Tanner's pretty bad about getting after fishers.
Yeah.
worst thing she'll ever crash on is a fisher. She just goes. She'll leave a bear for a fisher.
Do they run far?
They run far enough sometimes.
Yeah. I mean, he put that one in my. I mean, remember from where we turned loose to where he treed, it was a good piece. And I mean, I'm assuming that's what he went out of there on, because he was tight.
Yep.
Like, you didn't hear much out of him until it was jumped. Huh.
Nick actually told me that the fisher smells the most like a bear than any other critter.
Really?
Yep.
Huh. Well, y'all can keep them.
Yep.
I mean, we don't. They say that they're up in some of the parts of West Virginia they stocked or something. I don't know. I heard somebody say something about that. That could be false information. I don't want to put that out there if it's not true. But somebody told me that they'd seen some up in the corner of Virginia and West Virginia there where it meets up towards Winchester, somewhere in that area. But
there's some nasty buggers. They got wicked teeth in them.
Do they?
I mean, sharper than a dog's teeth.
Oh, wow. Huh. Yeah, I mean, that's the only one I've seen while I've been up there. And the porcupine, like I said, we treated that porcupine and a lot of bear, some deer.
I don't think they went up the tree.
Coyotes. Like, yeah, it's been a lot, for sure. So what about dogs?
So the next dogs were Grizz and Grace.
Yep. And I got Grizz killed for you.
Nah, well, he died doing what he loved to do.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, and I'll tell you guys, that one was a hard one because he got busted up inside. We did not know. Like, he jumped up in the box. He got out of the box. He ate half his food. It was a hard run that day. And, yeah, we didn't know. Like, there was no way to know that had happened. So,
remember then you brought up Buckshot and that Stetson dog.
Oh, yeah.
That Stetson dog, he just didn't know nothing. I mean, we tied that dog to a tree with a bear in it, left him there for 2 hours, came back, and he's still there. The bear's gone.
Oh, wow.
That dog was afraid of bears.
Huh. He was forced. That's what's wrong.
There you go. That thing, he loved porcupines. I mean, I pulled 200 quills out of his beak on Friday and 150 out on Sunday of the same week.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I never did hunt with him. And maybe, I don't know, maybe they did hunt him a little bit. I don't remember. I mean, I remember the dog for sure.
Seems small game was all right, but a bear, he'd follow you into the tree, but then he'd make sure you were ahead of him.
Isn't it funny how dogs, I mean, just talking to Nick, how, he's got one that's kind of acting that way, how, some dogs just absolutely will not have anything to do with a bear. And then they'll run coons and everything but a bear. Huh. Yeah, I don't know.
So Buckshot made a good dog, real good dog.
Mm-hmm. Yep, I had his litter mate, and there was 2 more litter mates there at the house of him.
And I picked up a running walker from a guy in Vermont that didn't want him because he was too timid.
Oh, yeah. Scout.
No.
Axe.
Mm-hmm. We turned him into a bear dog. I mean, he left the tree and treed 3 by himself.
Hmm.
I had a little half white cloud dog too.
Yep.
A full white cloud dog. They called him Rock, but I called him Rocket. He was a fast little dog, and he turned into a nice bear dog.
Yeah.
But I sold him and Axe because we had plans of breeding Tanner, and she was pregnant at the time, so I sold those 2 to make room for more.
Yeah.
I kept 3 of them, still got them. One of them got bred to I can't even say blue tick, but
A blue tick.
and she's a nice little dog.
So, do you remember what was some of the first dogs that you hunted with Rodney? Do you remember? Were you
Big
Jill?
Cat, Jill, Rain.
Was Coke still alive?
Nope, no
Okay.
Coke. He had a red and black and red dog.
Black and red.
Yeah, it was a big old dog. I can't remember his name. Might have been. It wasn't Hudson. It was something. Forrest. No.
7.
Nope. I didn't meet 7. He was dead by then.
That was Sky's brother. Huh. I don't know. So when I first started hunting with him, it was Jill, he had Coke, but he didn't use her a whole lot. She was an older plot. She was an older plot female, and I'm telling you, like that dog, I'd take 10 of them. She was built like she should have been. She looked like, what my vision of a hound should look like. He had Jimmy, because I ended up with her.
Yeah, but Jimmy was later in life.
Oh yeah.
Jimmy was a single child, I think.
Yeah, I remember that red dog you're talking about, but I don't.
They had a red tick too at the same time. I can't remember the red tick.
I cannot remember the name.
Do you remember Joe?
Joe.
That nice looking walker dog you had? Took into Maine, and it died up there back here when he got back here with it. I thought you might have had a litter mate to that one.
Joe. Well, it would have had to been Sky.
Yeah, I think that was right.
Yeah, 7 was the red tick. 7 was the little red tick.
No. The red tick I saw was quite a lot bigger. I can't remember. He got rid of some of them just after I started hunting with him.
Yeah. 7 was the male, the red tick. I remember that. And Joe would have been Sky's
that's correct.
brother.
Yeah. He was a nice dog.
Yeah.
Then he had Hudson.
Who I ended up with. I ended up with Hudson and Jimmy.
Oh, then there was Jeb and Kelly.
Jeb and Kelly were out of. Jeb was out of Frosty and Racket, and Kelly was out of Jeb.
Jeb and somebody else.
And, Jeb and who did we? No, he was out of Jeb. In fact,
they looked alike. I mean,
Kelly just passed away this past fall.
Really? Must have been old.
So June. Yeah, he was like 13. Yeah, he was old. Yeah, man, that dog was such a nice dog until 2 years old. He got beat up, and that was it. Like you could have put him in a water glass and poured him on a bear, and he didn't want much to do with it. Now he did come around later on. I mean, I give him to one of my buddies, and they caught a couple bear with him, but it was not like he was at 2 years old.
Jeb kind of wrecked me because I wanted the look of that dog. He's just a good-looking bugger, and I'd like that high tan walker dog.
Yeah. So Jeb was out of Jeb was out of Ring and Racket. Sorry, Ring and Racket, and Racket was out of Frosty and Maggie. I know you guys don't know that, but I'm just playing it in my head so I can put it together. But
I've never met somebody that could keep track of dogs as well as you do.
I don't know. I'm getting to the point where I have to write it down now or I forget.
Somebody asked me what my dogs are out of. I just say, ask Heath.
Well, I mean, they all go back. I mean, in fact, Buckshot and Tanner are kin in the 4th generation because Buckshot goes back to Frosty and Tanner goes back to Ring, and Ring was Frosty's nephew. So Ring was out of Frosty's brother. So 5 generations on Tanner's side and 4 generations on Buckshot's side.
And nobody's related to Grace, right?
No. Yep. I don't. Wesley had one of those. And he ended up, she didn't want much to do with a bear either, so he sold her to a guy that coon hunts her. And they coon hunted, and I don't know if they still do, but she went to North Carolina, and they really liked her. But yeah, I don't. My two did not suit me, and I went ahead and had them spayed and neutered and give them to a girl to run deer with them, and they did for a while. So, but yeah, I tried to keep up with them. They just would not tree. They'd run the hair off a deer. I'm telling you, like, run the far out of it. But they'd run a bear, but they just wouldn't. They didn't care nothing about it. And after 2 years, I kept them a little after 2, and I just like I can't do that anymore. Like I've got younger ones that's doing more. So,
well, Grace has always been a truck to tree dog, but I lose my patience. I don't have time to wait for her. She's slow.
Yeah, well, and her parents were, they were average dogs at best. They'd run a tree of bear. They weren't world beaters. And I didn't feel like they would stay as long as they should, for me. That was my downfall with them.
So
But, I mean, they would catch a bear.
Grace has got so she just wait and look for a way to a road and hopefully get somebody's truck and go sleep on a couch someplace.
She's just doing the easy route.
Yep, she will. She'll get tired and she'll hear cars, traffic going by like 2 miles away, and you might go pick her up walking right down the yellow line.
Well, she's flirting with death, isn't she?
Yeah, it scares me. I mean, I see her head and I just get for the road and try to get there before she gets there.
I know, that's crazy.
But she's getting old. You know, she's 7 now or a touch more.
Yeah, because I was in Dallas when they got bred. Yeah, it was 2004. Wait, no, that's 2016. Yeah, so she's 2016 model.
Yep, sounds right.
Yep, yeah, for sure. Yeah. And you remember? Do you remember anything about Ring?
I don't. I remember. I think it was a big dog, wasn't he?
Yeah, he's about the size of Spook. A little bit more chest on him, where Spook's more deeper, but a little bit more chest on him, but about the same size. Yeah.
He was bigger than Little Man, right?
Oh yeah, Little Man. Yeah, a little bit taller than Buckshot. Yeah, I mean he was a good built, good sized dog. Yeah.
Hopefully tomorrow we'll get off the turtles and tree a bear.
I'm telling you, like, holy cow, it's that it's so for me. And you hear me say it all the time, how blessed I am to be able to do a little bit of traveling. And now this was a planned trip because, a little bit more involved in it. But being able to come to different country and go to different places and meet, like, wonderful people.
Oh, you can't get better people than the Spruills.
Yeah.
Wicked nice people.
Yeah. So, and y'all stay tuned. And maybe it may be before this one or after this one, but if you don't listen to it, you need to listen to it because they're great, great, great people. They're starting their outfitting business, and like I said, they're working really hard, to get this thing going. But yeah, I mean, I get to meet people. I get to, my ultimate goal for my dogs are to be able to go anywhere in the country and tree game. Now, I don't know how that would end up being out west, but I intend on going out there sometime in the near future, maybe a year or two. I'd like to go out to New Mexico or somewhere and hunt. And I've been to Canada. This is my third trip to Canada. So it's a little thicker here than where I hunted before. A little bit more open. There was some water, but it was a little bit more open timber than it is here. It's a little thicker. This reminds me a lot of down in North Carolina. It reminds me a lot of the thickness of it.
It's thick, but it's flat.
Yeah.
There's no hills and mountains to climb.
Yeah. What Tim said the other day, he's like, yeah, he said, we'll climb that ridge over there. And I'm like, what ridge? And he's like, that ridge over there. And I'm like, you mean that anthill? And he's like, yeah, that ridge runs all the way out through there. And I mean, if you could just envision what I'm looking at, like our ridges are straight up, straight down for a long way. And this one is barely a bump. If you're looking out through the horizon, it's like a little bump in the treetops. But he was right; it was a high spot. We went around through it, but yeah. But hunting in a different country, getting your dogs exposed. Ben and I just had this long conversation about, traveling with dogs. I mean, it's 12 hours for me. I'm hauling some young dogs up here that's never been hauled that far. Now, my 3-year-olds have been hauled, they've traveled some, they've traveled and been staked out and, they sleep in the dog box. And so this is nothing new to them. It's just a lot further. And it's different country. Like it's different country.
Three out of the 4 dogs they brought haven't hardly touched their food. I had to give them pulled pork sandwiches to get them eat today.
Yeah. And some dogs are like that. They're finicky, like Spook. Like first 2 days, he just tipped his dog food over. And I'm like, dude, you got to eat. Like I need you to be like I need
That
you to.
gas tank needs to be full.
That's right. Like I need it. So yeah, he doesn't eat as well either. He did eat really good. I only fed him. I fed everybody half this morning. So I'll wait till later this evening, and I'll feed them the rest of it if we don't go back out. But yeah, it's different. It's taking the dogs to different country and giving them a different experience and exposure. And
How many dogs got exposed to boat rides yesterday, Heath?
well, 2 of mine.
One of mine.
Yeah, we
Mile up the lake.
yeah, like literally, like we had to.
A commandeer
We commandeered a boat, a canoe, which I can't stand, and paddle up the lake and get one dog. It was, I mean, she was a mile back in there. Get her, and then we come out, and Ben had already got Tanner, and then we spent another 2 hours chasing dogs, and ended up going in and getting another one. Yeah, that was an experience.
It was pretty good. We walked in there and tried to get Tanner across the lake, and there's one boat there with paddles in it, and we knew the guy that just walked up to his car to bring his stuff up there, and we were waiting. The guy didn't come back, so I said to Nick, I'm just going to go ask that guy if we can borrow his canoe. He says, we go ask him when you get there, tell him I took his canoe. And he just got out halfway across the lake, and the guy came back down. He'd been eating some magic mushrooms, and he was like, it's all cool, dude. Go get your dog.
Yeah, there's but no, that was, and I mean, you got, like Sarah, she jumped in the canoe and just started paddling away, and you don't find people to, they're my dogs. It's my responsibility to go get them, but they're like, so they want to help.
Oh, absolutely.
In fact, Nick and Sarah and Maddie went and got the last the pup. She had just flat laid down.
She was sleeping in the canoe when she got back to the dock.
She had flat laid down. When I say pup, it's she's a year old, so she's never been hauled this far. In fact, this is her first actual week of hunting. Like, now I've coon hunted her a little bit, and I've had her on a bear chase or two, but this is her first actual, here we're going hunting, and she's looked really bad, and she looked really good. Like I don't know, but yeah. So they went, and Maddie put her in her lap, and they probably brought her back. I will tell you, if you got to go pick a dog up in a canoe, it probably takes 3 people. It's 2 paddling and 1 holding the dog. And if you got multiple dogs, good luck. And don't take all your equipment with you. I took my chest rig, and it had my phone and my tracker and my radio, and I mean, it had everything. My thermocell, don't come to Canada without it. In the spring, the fall's not like this, but so I had everything in there, and I was scared to death we was going to flip that canoe, and I was going to lose everything that I had. So don't take your stuff with you. Take the bare minimum, your tracker, and make sure it's hooked to you. That way, if you do have to swim, you don't lose it. I told Maddie, I said, you make sure you hook it in your belt clip, and you do not take it off. But yeah, so things we learn while we're hunting.
Yeah. Nick didn't have any trouble getting Tanner by himself. I mean, that man knows how to work a canoe.
That's crazy.
And she sat right there in the bow of that canoe and just come right back with him.
Did he tie her up or just left her?
Nope, just left her. She got back to shore, she jumped out and walked to the truck.
Huh?
And we carried magic mushrooms for that fella up to the car with his tent and his bags, and in appreciation for letting us borrow his canoe. Ben
was the dock boy yesterday. We were sitting in a truck at the top of where the gate is. We have to walk down to this boat ramp. How far is that?
Probably quarter mile.
Quarter mile, yeah. A couple hundred yards down in there. And we're sitting there, and we're waiting on them. They had went after Lady. Yeah, so we were waiting. They had to paddle quite a bit. They had a long way to go.
She was over a mile from the dock.
Yeah, and 1.2. So we see this dude carrying a backpack, and he's got his hands full of stuff, and we're like, is that Ben? Like, nah, ain't Ben. I was like, well, Ben didn't have no backpack. And the closer he got, we're like, that is Ben. No, that ain't Ben. And I'm like, yeah, it is. It's Ben. Like, Ben's carrying. He was shuffling up these two elderly lady, and I mean they were probably in their late 70s or 80s.
Oh, absolutely.
And they had, I don't know how they packed all that stuff in there. But here Ben comes carrying, like, pretty much, he's got both hands full, his backpack's full. He carries their stuff up to a car and set it down. And so he was shuffling stuff back and forth for people with the dock while he was waiting. So I think they're going to give you a job.
Yeah, they talked about it. I actually helped. There was a bunch of younger kids, probably 10 to 14 years old. And
The Boy Scouts.
Is that what they were? There was like 12 of them, and I helped all them get in their canoe and get all their stuff in, and I pushed the last one out.
Yeah. Yeah, I think you got a job. You got a summer job now.
I can't just sit around waiting, I need to help them out. So the elderly ladies, I mean, that pack was 60 pounds.
That's what I'm saying. I don't know how she carried that pack weighed more than she did.
Yep.
I do not know how she got it where they.
And they had to go back and paddle across the lake and get the rest of their stuff.
Oh, that's where they went.
Yeah, they had to go back down and get more.
Because I was like, where did they go? They put the stuff in the car and they said thank you. And then they just disappeared, and I'm like, well, they just leave again? What was they doing?
Yep,
So, that's what they were doing.
They had 2 canoe loads of stuff they carried, so they had to make 2 trips down and 2 trips back. So they were rugged.
Well, yeah, good for them. I mean, I hope at that age I can get in a canoe and fish. Like, I don't know that I'll be paddling a lot, but I'll be fishing.
I hope I get to that age.
Yeah, I don't know that I'll see it either, but yeah.
If I don't change my diet, I might have a heart attack just thinking about it.
Yeah, that's for sure. All right, so what do you want to end it on? Good hunt, bad hunt, thoughts, dogs, whatever you got.
They're all good hunts, Heath.
Yeah.
If you can get up out of bed and go get it done, they're all good.
Every day that you can do that, and even though today they retrieved 6/10 of a mile off any path, trail, whatever, and we got soaked. Like, I'm going to do a review on these crispy boots, these Thor 2s that I have. I've been wearing them a lot. I've worn them to Kentucky, turkey hunting. I mean, I've been wearing them to canine training. I've worn them out a couple nights coon hunting. Like, I've worn them a lot. And today's the first day that they actually got wet. Like, wet.
But if they were like my boots, I had a brand new pair of Meandles on. In the water, my pant legs got so wet.
Yeah, it was going down.
It was running down the socks and into the boots. That's how they got wet. They didn't come through the outside.
Yeah. And I'm not sure, but yes, they were wet. We got soaked. And you guys, when I put this podcast out, I'll probably put a video or 2 up of, like, we're filming the bear, and you can see the rain just gushing down.
But what a cool little bear. I mean, this whole backside was all brown.
Yeah. Luke got some really good pictures he just sent to me, and I may post that one too because that's really good. But yeah,
so we didn't talk about what we treat so far this week.
No, we treat 3 coons and a squelch monkey.
Was there 5 bears we treat
so far?
Five bears and 3 coons.
Yep. And I will tell you guys this: if you've listened to this podcast this long, I've got dogs that have never seen a coon, ever. Have not been turned loose on them. They haven't seen them. And you comp boys, I would have wore you out. I had first on 2 of the 3. And I had second and second on the third one. Never seen a coon in their life. And they look like $1 million if you were hunting a coon. I mean, like, jam them up, get treed, blow the top out of it. And, you just got to shake your head because what do you do? I don't like it. It's not what I'm after. I don't like it. I feel like it interrupted our hunt. We could never get straightened out. Like, every time we were turning loose, we were getting jammed up on a coon. So that made things a little difficult and aggravating for sure. But, I mean, I'd rather them be running a coon than a moose or a deer or a coyote.
Absolutely. At least they go up a tree.
Yeah, and I mean, the longest walk was, 400 yards?
Yeah, give or take.
Yeah, so.
If you ever come to Canada, make sure you bring your Ontario mouthwash, which 100% DEET.
Yeah, yes, because you're gonna breathe some mosquitoes at some point in time, for sure. But yeah, we've been very blessed to tree 5 bear. We've been here 5 days and looked at 5 bear. One day we pretty much treed coons all day, so we had a double one day, coons. The coons were the day we didn't tree any bear, but we couldn't get them lined out. And then it did get so hot.
Like, it was terrible.
Yeah,
hot.
we cut it off about 10 o'clock because of the humidity and the heat. So, and our dogs are not in shape. Like, they're not.
Round is shape, Heath.
Yeah, well, that's me. That ain't the dogs. But yeah, I mean, we can't, I'm trying not to run them down where I have a couple. So what I've been doing is alternating. And my 2 pups yesterday got flat run down. Ben's got 2 that's pretty sore-footed. So I've tried to mix and match and, run a couple today and run a couple tomorrow and back and forth. So they're not in shape. They're not in running shape. So that's not helped things either, I don't think.
But they'll be in better shape when they start their own seasons at home.
Yeah. Yeah, I know. I wished I could just go right back home and just continue hunting for sure. But I got them puppies at the house. I've got to get them started. Like, I held off from here. I held off from bringing them here. And when I get back home, that's my goal, is to get them out and let them eat, man. Just let them go. Take off and see what they'll do. I mean, they're 8. They're going to be pushing 9 time I get home. 9 months, yeah.
We both know there's only one good way to make a dog, and that's feed them tracks.
Yep. And put them in the woods. Boot leather. That's right. Well, being, like I said, you look at how many years, 2006, 2000. I mean, we're pushing 18 years, 19 years, depends on how you look at it. I mean, we've been in the woods a lot together, a lot of dogs. I've been to your place, you've been to our place, we've been here. This is our first, trip. Yeah, their first trip together. And, I mean, it's always good to have people along. And
vacation to me is not going to the beach.
Oh, no, yeah.
Unless you're going there to steal a canoe and go get a dog.
Or fish. I'm going to go fishing next month. I'm gonna spend a week. I got to go. They're making me. I don't have a choice. It's like, if you want to hunt all year, you're going to at least go to the beach. Okay. So I got to sacrifice one of my weeks, but that's okay. I do a lot of fishing and catch some fish, and I enjoy that. But, man, I mean, I've enjoyed it over the years, and, you pulling up in that truck that day, and like I said, that's the one I remember the best. I never looked at 18 years down the road and said we'd be sitting here chasing bear in Canada.
I mean, I'd never hardly left New York State before I went to Virginia.
Yeah. Well, I remember that first time you were down there. Yeah. Now, if we can get Wesley to leave Giles County, like that, if I can get him out of Giles County, we can show him a whole new world. And Wesley, if you're listening to this, and I know you are, you got to get out of Giles County. You got to go places.
Hey, you got Frosty up there once. No, what you call it? What's that dude's name? Kevin.
Fuzzy?
Fuzzy. You got him out of town once.
Yeah, Fuzzy would come help me drop dogs off. Yeah, he would take a ride with you. Yeah. Wesley did. No, Wesley did come one time. Yeah, him and did I meet you at the gas
truck
station?
stop.
Yeah, Wesley and Taylor went one time. Me, Maddie, Wesley, and Taylor. But I try to get those guys to go on trips. Like, I invited my whole hunting group, which is only 6 of us. And Ben, you don't want to took it up.
Yep. I'd never been to Canada.
Yeah.
But go Canada, I'm coming back.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's definitely it's good to get out and to see things and do things and meet people. Like I said, we've met some really good people this week too. Not only, Nick and Sarah.
Look at their kids. I mean, they're those young boys we met, and I mean, they're going to be stand-up men when they grow up.
Quinn and Tim, and then you have, we met Sean.
Sean, yep, good guy. I mean, they adopted us like we were their own,
Yeah, and it's so funny that we're actually talking about this, because this is how I live my life. When you're around good people that open up their house, I mean, that's how I am.
Oh, absolutely, me too.
That's how, ever since my hunting journey started, it's always been an open door. Like Rodney, open his door. Hey, you come stay with me. Yep. I mean, we'd hunt in the mornings. He'd go to work, and
You'd be
just
sitting on his couch watching his TV.
Yeah, like that's the type of people that the outside world don't see who we are.
Yep, absolutely.
And, you know, I think, I mean, like I said, you meet great people. And, I mean, there's bad apples in every bunch. We get it. We don't need to beat that drum to death. But, like, there's always a bad apple. But most of the people that I've met through my hunting career, you know, almost 30 years now, have been just like the people that we've met.
Yep.
They open their house, they open their door, and you've got a lifetime friend.
Yeah, most people think, you know, these hound guys are just a bunch of dirty rednecks, you know. We might smell bad, but, you know, we're good people.
They're the salt of the earth. That's
Absolutely.
what they are.
Yep.
Just what you're talking about, Quinn. And like, you know, those are the kids that's going to grow up to
They're
be...
open doors for old 80s and pick
Yep.
up their garbage when they get blown out, or their groceries when their bag rips. Yep.
Yep. No, for sure. So, well, Ben, I appreciate you sitting me down and doing this with me. And like I said, I hope I'll have Nick and Sarah on here either before or after. I gotta corral them up, man. They busy.
Yeah, they're dropping baits and getting stuff ready.
They're running baits and kids and
cooking us moose meat for supper tomorrow night.
I can't wait. It's been 20 years, September of 2004 since I've had moose meat. But moose, I want to take a moose and an elk. That's on my bucket list. And man, the moose, I cannot draw a tag for nothing. So anyway, all right, guys, catch us on the next one. We'll see you.